Hey, what's up guys? So I'm here today with Ben from Safe Drive Solutions. He's a fellow YouTuber, also does dash cam reviews and whatnot, but he also does installations. And he's actually here in town today. We're doing an install here in my Kia EV9, and he was actually the one helping get the install done. So we just finished it. I want to tell you guys all about the install and show you what the process was like. So thanks for your help with getting this set up.
Hey, you're welcome. It was fun.
So let's, I guess, kind of start through the process. So I've been having a lot of cables on the dash and stuff for testing, and this is my wife's car, and so we've been wanting to get it cleaned up. One of the big questions I had to start things off was how to power it. So I know we were talking about like, 12-volt batteries powering off the car or using like a dedicated Dashcam battery pack. I kind of went for like the dedicated route just because I wanted to be able to test like multiple dash cams at a time. Let's start with kind of like your thoughts as far as where the batteries typically would go in a car.
Okay, well, yeah, so most times when we're putting a battery pack into a vehicle, we're typically going to put them underneath a seat, underneath the rear seat, or in like the hatch area. Mm-hmm. That seems to be the very most common places to put them. Mm-hmm. But sometimes there may be other challenges, right? As we found on your vehicle. Right?
Yeah, like I wanted to, he was saying, let's put them under the seats, but my kids have their water bottles, they're dropping them, the water's splashing all the time, there's toys going down there, so we're like, maybe for safety reasons, let's not put a battery with all the wiring right where the water bottles are gonna hit.
So we ended up having to go all the way into the hatch, and we had to actually kind of move some stuff around in your hatch area in order to actually make sufficient space in order to actually put the battery pack there.
We looked for a ton of different places trying to figure out like where could it fit, where is it not being blocked by some other things that are already back there, little parts of the hatch. So wound up finding a good spot, and then for the wiring we actually kind of went down like underneath to hide it. Yeah,
we actually found another fuse box in the back, surprisingly, completely hiding under the panel that we removed, and we thought we actually struck gold. But it turns out there was no ignition there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was just, they were hot all the time, always supplying power. They don't turn it on and off.
Yeah, but we did find a whole bunch of stuff related to like the EV battery for the vehicle in there too, which was pretty cool because I never really thought they would have hit it right there.
And we actually want to do a separate video talking about installing dash cams in EVs. I've had a number of questions about that. I've been doing research. I know Ben knows about that as well. So we'll do a separate video talking about installing dash cams specifically in EVs. The way that you ran the cable too, can you tell us a little bit about that process?
So in the back, we actually, we made a little incision in the storage area in the back hatch area. And then we actually split loomed it and Tessa taped it. That way, just no jagged edges or anything could actually snag anything, but it's all hidden underneath. And while it's underneath there, we actually tie strapped all factory wiring that was completely hidden under there. That way it's solid. We don't have to worry about it like flying around.
And I like that the only cut that was made was just this little removable plastic piece. So if I ever needed to replace it or something, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, like you said, it's probably gonna be like $500 at Kia.
Yeah, for a $3 piece of plastic.
It's probably it's probably $5, but yeah.
We went through a lot of different options of like, where can we install it to hide it so we're not having to cut anything, but that wound up being like the best way to approach it. So we got the battery installed on the back, and then we kind of like ran the cables up to the front. I know that part was pretty tricky.
Yeah.
You spent a while trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, so yeah, basically when we were running the cables, typically most of these vehicles don't have screws. They actually had a screw on the side paneling, and because of that, in order to actually run the cables correctly, I would have had to take out the entire rear seat in this Kia EV9. So what ended up happening is luckily I have two of my tools that are actually extension rods, and I was able to run it right through and bypass that on the inside of a panel, which you've seen me take probably like an extra 20, 30 minutes trying to figure it out. But that's also because I haven't really done a lot of Kia EV9s. These are very new vehicles, but we got that done.
Yeah, it was a great feeling once we got that cable through there.
Yeah, success. As
far as like powering into here, so what was the setup for actually like handling all the cables down here?
So what we ended up doing is on a lot of Kia and Hyundai vehicles, they have fuse slots that aren't even used at all. So we actually went through and we were actually taking a look at all the fuse locations, and we found a bunch that were not used, and we found a 15 amp rated fuse that we could actually hook up to the battery pack. And the battery pack is going to draw anywhere from 4.5 to 9 amps while charging. So we decided on that fuse spot. It's not used, so it should be safe for the battery pack.
And then we wound up running like the cable up across the headliner for the A229 Pro. I've got another power cable for like future expansion or something in case I want to run maybe another dash cam. I can hardwire that too. That's convenient. And then for the rear camera, that cable we kind of ran like across the top. Correct?
That's correct. Yeah, because they don't make them long enough to actually run on the ground. Like a lot of people are worried about running on the ground, but you'll probably see that we actually ran it safely behind the airbag, so you don't have to worry about it. So there are ways to do that. You can actually tie strap to a wiring harness that is right next to the airbag that typically runs for wires that power things up top here in the vehicle down, and you just tie strap directly with that, run it down, and then we can run it right by the fuse box on the driver's side safely.
As far as like pulling off the cover and the A-pillar, so you're not just having to like shove cables back there blindly, like are there some tricks to getting the A-pillar off?
Yeah, the A-pillar is fun on here. And like I even told you recently on the channel, a Kia tech actually said, how are you taking those off without breaking them? So you got to be careful with it, but there's like two little tabs. And basically I usually use a little pick and my finger. So I usually use my finger to unlatch the inside, and then I use a pick just to get it. And he's got these two little clips, and as long as you can get them both off, the A-pillar will come completely off the vehicle, clean.
And then we also ran like a second rear cable. So for future expansion or something, if we want to do another dash cam right back there, it's like a Blackview cable, so we could run that if we wanted to in the future. Yep. And then we also ran a radar detector cable, so like hardwired down. Yep. But I noticed you didn't actually wire it into the fuse box. You went into like the OBD-II connector. What's the rationale behind that?
So a lot of Kia, Hyundai, Audi, Porsche, Volkswagen, a whole bunch of these vehicles, a lot of people don't realize they have power, ground, and ignition at the OBD-II plug. Now, not every Kia and Hyundai have an ignition wire there, but the thing is, it's typically 7.5 to 10 amps rated, and it's a dormant circuit. So it's actually not being used at all. The only time it is being used is when the car dealer is plugging in their scan tool in order to actually take a look to see what's going on with your vehicle. So it's very minimal, and all like GPS tracking devices. So when a GPS tracking company actually installs in people's fleets, or they install a GPS tracking device into your vehicle, they typically go there as well. And these are low current devices. It's under an amp. If you're running maybe like 5 or 10 amps, it might be a concern, but it's not really causing any problems in order for the car dealer to still scan. And one last point is we're not hooking up directly into any CAN lines. We're only hooking up to like power, ground, and ignition lines. That's it there, and it's low current.
So there's no concerns about like data issues throwing maybe like errors on the car?
Yeah. No, that's correct. Yeah, because we're not actually wiring into like a CAN high, CAN low, or causing any issues like that. And like you've seen here, I verified that there was 12.5 volts coming out of that circuit. There was no issues. It wasn't just one that lit up. Like, we have to verify that it is getting proper, sufficient voltage.
Is there anything about this install in particular that was maybe like unexpected?
I mean, the only thing was, I guess when I came here, I thought we would be putting it under a seat. So then I got a little flustered, like, oh man, now I got to like, we spent like an hour plotting
the battery.
Where are we going to put this thing?
Yeah.
Right. Where are we going to put this thing? Because, you know, I didn't really think about his kids, and you know, people do have kids. I have kids as well, right?
But yours are a little older than mine.
Yeah, a little bit older, right? But I do totally see that, because a lot of times I will work on vehicles. It's like, why is there 4 water bottles underneath your seat, right?
There's a bunch of Cheerios down there.
So that was the only thing that kind of threw us for a complete and total loop. But once you figure that out, so I will say this, like I said to Ariel, you know, if you are looking to get someone to professionally install your dash cam, and you are getting a battery pack, and you are concerned about being placed in some of those positions, I would definitely let them know, because it is going to take a lot longer to figure out placement and everything of these products, right?
And then coming back to the rear camera again real quick, there were some cool tricks I saw of how you were actually able to get the cable like back through the some of the tight areas. I remember trying to do it on my wife's old Honda Fit, and that was tough. But you made it look easy. So let's talk about that.
So I was showing you that what I do is I actually take some primary wire, and I actually spin it with a drill, and then I use the loop at the end of that just to kind of run through. So when we're taking the grommet off, I actually just put through the loop, and then I actually pull the wire through with that, just because it's a little bit easier to do it. Now, the problem is the weather stripping on a lot of Kia, Hyundai, and some other vehicles on the market. They have this like black goo. And especially when it's hot like this out there, you got to be really careful, because you can easily get that on your headliner. And this is like a nice whitish gray like headliner. Mm-hmm. And you could easily get like this black tarry substance all over it. So that is one thing you really want to be careful with that. And I was showing Ariel how we have to run the wire through with the loop, and then I pull the wire through, but I only open it at the minimal I can. That way I'm not exposing this like black tarry substance or whatever, right?
I gotta admit, like all the little things that you did of like how you're able to pull the cables and the things, you know, how not to like get the car dirty and how you're tapping into stuff is, there were a lot of really cool tricks, like definitely beyond my level of expertise and comfort. So I know you do these installations and you do like mobile installations. So if somebody wants to like have you come out and do installs, tell me a little bit about like the installs you do. How does that work?
Well, like typically when we actually show up to somebody's house and do installation, we put seat covers on, we put like a lot of protective covers and stuff on. We kind of left it off for this video because it was going to kind of get in the way in some of the camera angles and things like that.
That's true.
So,
For the video,
which is fine, right? But normally we put that on. But one of the first things we do is we always go over camera placement, right? Where do you want the camera placed? A lot of people are worried it's going to be in their field of vision. So we go over that. Now, I didn't have to do that here because obviously Ariel knew where he wanted his camera, which is actually typically where I would mount it for most consumers anyways. So usually they put it off to the passenger side, they put it up high behind the rear view mirror. While sitting on the driver's seat, they're not really going to see that. We show them where the rear camera is going to go. We explain to them how we're going to hook up power. If there is any challenges that we think might be on the vehicle that we maybe had before, we'll talk to them about it. If we're installing a battery pack like we did in this vehicle, we're going to go over where we're going to place it and why. And have those discussions with them, right?
So yeah, I know you've done a bunch of installs. You did it here on my car. I'm very happy. You're not paying me to say this. Like, I'm happy with how it went. It was great.
Yeah, no money exchange hands.
So if maybe somebody wants to come to you, like where are you located? Do you go to them? How does that work?
So we service like Greater Vancouver area and like Fraser Valley. And then we also service Greater Toronto. So those are our two main areas that we do. But you can always contact us if you want us to travel further. Occasionally we do. I have gone half hour or hour out of my normal zone occasionally.
And what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
I would check us out on safedrivesolutions.com, or if you're active on YouTube, feel free to drop a comment on our channel as well.
Perfect. Well, yeah, thanks for your videos. Thanks for your help here. And I know we actually want to do a couple other videos. I got more questions for you that aren't specific to my car. So stay tuned for part 2 and part 3. Sweet. And he actually specializes in not only dash cam installations, or not only, well, I'll show you it again.
Sometimes the outtakes are the best.
I'll put them at the end, yeah.
Well, we're 100% mobile. So the whole point is, you know, Amazon comes direct to your house. Everybody else comes direct to your house. So, should I keep going?
Yeah, I'll stick it back on.